But before that, I spent 3 years as executive director for Fremont County in the state of Wyoming. We lived over on the western side up in the Wind River Mountains. We were if you drove to Yellowstone, our library was the southeast entrance of Yellowstone, so you would have went right by one of the libraries. They're all systems out there. So I had one of the largest counties in Wyoming, so libraries were 2.5 hours apart one way, up and down a mountain. So it was very interesting. But before that, I spent 21 years in West Liberty, which is in Muscatine County, where I actually grew up. I grew up in the Moscow-Wilton area, spending Wednesday evenings, because that was the day the library was open till 5:30, with Mrs. Neipert, who is the librarian who really fostered my love of reading and the variety of reading. You know, growing up, she made sure that I only read the best books. And yeah, YA, which is a young adult section, did not exist really when I was growing up. So you jump from reading juvenile to the adult section. Now we had that nice section. So she made sure that one, my mom knew what I was reading, and two, that I did not pick up anything that was inappropriate, which I can't imagine Mrs. Neipert ever buying inappropriate material. She was still the library director when I became the director at West Liberty. And it was amazing to talk with her. She says, you know, Janette, you can call me Dolly now. And I went, no, no, I can't. You will always, always be Mrs. Neipert to me. And when she retired, it was just wonderful to get to talk with her and to be able to give her my appreciation as my mentor and as someone who really helped me as a country kid who did not live on a farm and whose parents had to come pick us up, you know. So I understand those kids that wait outside the closed library door waiting for their parents to pick them up because they don't live in town, but they have to stay here because it's the place that's open, they want to go. You know, it was just that feeling, and that's the feeling that I want to create in the facilities that I work in. I believe strongly that libraries, of course, provide materials, which are books, now movies, you know, ebooks, all of those things, but it's actually about people. And that's what I'm so excited to work with here in DeWitt, is the community that supports a library that looks like what it does across the street. It is utterly amazing to get to come into a library and in a community that passed a library referendum. I know we talked about this before the meeting, that passed a library referendum at 82%. That is shocking. You know, a lot of communities pass a library at 60% and they feel like they have really done some amazing work. And you'll look at what you folks have done, it's just shocking. So I feel very strong that I get to take up what you folks have already done and then bring everybody into that lovely facility. So, well, you can ask me all kinds of questions about myself. I'm more than happy to answer them, but I really want to focus on what we're going to be doing at the library this fall. One, I would like to invite all of you. You are our first invite to our grand opening on September 12th. It is a Sunday, 1 to 4:30. The library will be open from 1 to 5, but our celebration is 1 to 4:30. We will have speakers and events every half an hour. We haven't opened the hub, which is the makerspace part of the library. So we will be having an activity there every hour. So you'll be able to participate. If the room is full, you might have to just get to watch. We do have lovely windows so that you can watch everyone having a good time, but hopefully you can join next time. And then in between times in the hub, we'll be providing activities in the children's zone. So I hope that you will join us. We do have cupcakes coming. We know that's a draw. Sorry with the diabetes thing. It is cupcakes, so, but it is take, so you don't have to eat them just in the library. So we invite all of you, but you are our first official invite. All of those go out actually this afternoon. So please join us. We have a complete lineup of activities for the fall, everything from our general story times to adult activities. Wednesdays, which are early outs at the school, we will be providing programming from 2 to 4 for kindergarten through 8th grade. What those activities do is provide hands-on learning. A lot of them will be based on STEAM, which is STEM, adding art. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but a lot of it will be dealing with active learning. We're not going to be sitting and, I don't know, watching movies or things like that. It's all active learning for 2 solid hours with library staff. We are working with the school, we've already met with them to incorporate how they're teaching literacy. When I talked with Extran, they were already bringing back read alouds so that they're going to be reading out loud. Some of you may volunteer with some of that. We're going to be reading for at least a solid 15 minutes in that 2-hour time slot while they're getting snacks. Because who isn't hungry after school? We all are hungry after school. So we're going to be providing that. And that is every single Wednesday afternoon. So please don't try to book the large meeting room on Wednesday afternoons. We've already outgrown the hub with what we call quiet marketing. We just put out some information quietly. It actually hits the school's backpack program and then the chamber here in DeWitt today. And we're already seeing an even bigger registration. So we'll see kind of where that takes us. We're already over 30 kids signed up with just that quiet marketing. We will be having 3 book clubs because, well, one, I really like them, and I feel it's a mission for the library to try to get you as readers to be outside of your box and to learn something new. Our goal is, my goal, I hate to say ours as a library, is to make sure that what you read in book club is not something you're going to normally pick up off the shelf. Because if you're normally going to read it, I'm very excited about that, great, but what is that doing to promote discussion about a topic or promote you to maybe choose something different next time you come in? So our 3 book clubs, we're going to do it at multiple times just to see what works. And if it doesn't work, we let it go. If we need to put something else in at a different time, I hope this community communicates that with me and we just move it or start up another book club. It's truly based on what our community needs or what it wants and what that response is. So we have a morning coffee book club, which will be the second Tuesday at 9 o'clock. That's kind of a wild card, what I would call a wild card book club. It's kind of all over the place. Our first book will be LMNOP, which actually is a fantastic book on language. It looks at how we communicate, and if you lose certain letters, which means you can't use words that have those letters in them, can you communicate effectively? Can you still get your message across if some words no longer existed? So we're really going to look at how we communicate and language, particularly in our era of texting. You know, you mess up or autocorrect helps you. It totally changes your message or your meaning. We're going to be doing fireside classics. If you haven't been into the library, you should. My absolute favorite place is that fireplace area. If you haven't been in, we have these lovely red rocking chairs in front of a fireplace, and it's just a wonderful place to be. We will be looking at the classics. Our first one is Brave New World by Huxley. I just feel it's very timely. And then we're going to be doing a noon book club where you can bring your lunch and enjoy lunch and book discussion. And that one is called the Whereabouts Book Club. And we're actually focusing where the theme is heavily due to place. So that location plays the main role in what we're going to be talking about. And the first book is a surrealist novel by a Portuguese writer called Lights on the Sea. You have to let go of your entire ideas and you just have to go with the flow, because this writer is so powerful that she can actually make you feel color. You feel what blue feels like. You can feel yellow. And we're going to talk about how she incorporates her color and her environment into this surrealist novel. So I hope some of you can join us. You'll be able to pick up books in September, and our first discussions will be in October. Of course, we'll have our general story times that we've always had at the same times. Those have not changed with Miss Cindy. October, we're bringing in the Bake Off. Rachel, who does our adult programming, will be handling that. And this year, we've asked businesses in town to be contestants, so it'll be pitting banks against bank, and I know that those folks just came on yesterday, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes. We also will be incorporating a family baking day. Something that's going into the hub will be cooking classes. Some of the cooktops just came in, so that you'll be able to do things like that. So we're pretty excited to really explore where that's going to take us. In January, they will be air fryer classes. I know that that's coming, to learn how to use your new air fryer, especially some of those nice ones. So those are just some little infomercials of what's coming into that space at the library. He told me I had 10 minutes, and I'm not sure where I sit. I think I'm right at 15. I can talk a long time. I just want you to know that I maybe might not be your most quiet librarian.
And that's good.
Well, some days. I might not ask the staff that. They already have gotten to know me pretty well.
When I said 10 minutes, I was in shock, I think, from last meeting we had an overrun. So you can definitely have 20 minutes.
Oh. Well, I want to leave time for some questions for you.
You mentioned the first book at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. Is that the time then for the second book and the third book? Are they all on Tuesdays?
For the morning one, will always be on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock.
Okay, and then there's one at noon.
There'll be one at noon, and that actually meets the fourth Tuesday at noon. And the evening, the classics will meet on the fourth Tuesday at 6:15. You'll start to see more programming in the evenings, and some on Sunday afternoons. So we as someone who was looking at DeWitt as an outsider, we've now spent 3 weekends here in town, and we walk, or I will cycle around town. There are a lot of people who stay in town, and there are a lot of people that are out and about, and I want the library to be able to be used by people that are in town. So we're kind of going to experiment with some of our programming and our hours to see what works, especially with the new facility. What do you want as a community? What do you want to see from your brand new facility? When do you want to use it as a community? And so please, I hope that you come to those programs, or that you communicate with us on what you would like to see. Because with the library board and with the staff, we are discussing the hours of our new facility, how people will use us differently than what they use the smaller, older facility for. So please, we really depend on your feedback. We want your feedback. It's just really important. We can't, we can't serve you if we don't know what it is you want. So communication is really important as the library morphs into what the new DeWitt, what the new library can do for you. It's really important. So what questions would you like to know about myself or the library?
I know you have different meeting rooms and so on and so forth. Is there a minimum fee or something for?
There's only a fee if you are a for-profit business. Okay. That is the only time a fee is charged. We have actually 2 meeting rooms that are, I would say, geared, quote, for adults or families. We have 2 meeting rooms that are in the teen area. Anybody can use any of the meeting rooms, it's just where they're located. We also have, of course, the very large meeting room with the glass doors. And then we have a smaller board room that is just off that meeting room. And those can be booked online, or you can call the library. And I would tell you that even since I've been at the library, we are seeing more and more bookings of those rooms. So I wouldn't always recommend to wait to the last minute, because now we've actually had to tell people that they're booked, which is really nice. Can you bring food? Absolutely, into the meeting rooms. Like if your group has food, you can absolutely bring that in. We'll soon have a refrigerator actually in our meeting room. Trying to think, it comes, I think, August 8th is when that comes. With the refrigerator for that large meeting space. The hub we do not book out, but our intention would be that we will, especially like to Girl Scout groups, kid groups, not birthday parties, but official groups that work with kids, that they could use the equipment in the hub. What other things that we're bringing into the hub besides our cooktops? We have the air fryer so we can teach classes. We also have a sewing machine and a wood burner and a soldering iron. So if any of you, repair computers or do artwork with some of that equipment, we will be getting that ready for public use. But that we don't anticipate until January while we get everything set up so that not only the staff knows how to use it, but then we can teach you to use it and quote, be library certified to use that equipment before we let you loose in the hub. But we want that space and all that equipment to be used by the public and not just for library use. That's our goal. And that we anticipate that to be ready in January. We also have coffee stations that just went, we got our holes drilled, so we're very excited, and the plumbing's all hooked up. So as soon as supplies come in, that'll be available for on donation. The library supplies a certain amount every month is how we are anticipating to use that, so it's free or free will donation while it's available. We thought it would be perfect for our morning book club or our evening book club. But it's available for public use. And those were installed actually just last week, so we're testing them out and waiting for our supplies to come before we make that public.
I'm sorry, how about computer help?
Absolutely, we can help you. We have that really beautiful bank of computers. You come in, you do not have to have a library card to use the meeting rooms or the computers. You can give you a guest pass, and of course you can register to use the meeting rooms. Everything else with the library, to check out anything, of course you need a nice new library card. Though I've seen someone actually had a library card number that only had 3 numbers. So that was even pre the yellow library card, so it was interesting to see the succession of library cards even the short time I've been here. And something that we're excited to show the day of the grand opening is the history of the DeWitt libraries. We have the archives that will have a nice display. We have a VHS tape of the grand opening of the Francis Wagner building. So we're working on getting that switched over to digital, and so that folks can also see that grand opening. I think it's a wonderful succession of support that DeWitt has shown for literacy and community involvement that what the library provides.
Something we're always trying to do with the kid site is, get all the kids we can possibly get, 6 months to kindergarten age. Would there be a group that we could target to, get consent forms and come in and actually do kid site at the library?
Right, you would need a consent form, of course, when they register. That is separate from what the library would do.
Yes.
But every Wednesday, before I came to this meeting, we had over 30 kids signed up alone for Wednesday afternoon. And my watch has been kind of going off, and I just know that it's more of those registrations. So, we're anticipating to hit 50 kids easily by the end of the week.
What's your capacity for that?
Well, those doors really open. The large meeting room, we expect 50 people if you sat in chairs, but we're expecting to have to open up the glass doors. And another thing that's really nice is a lot of the shelving is movable. They put it on casters by the fireplace, so that actually allows us to expand by moving the shelves out of the way very easily. So we set it at 50, but that's a movable number when we see the actual registration and what the community is asking of us. Coming in, I just don't know, and it's all relatively new staff at the library, and so they're not sure either. So we actually have the capacity, because of the way the library was designed, to actually break off into small groups and just fill the library with our programming that day. So if you want a quiet library, avoid Wednesday afternoons.
So the requirements to do kid site, one is a darkened room to go into, to take pictures. And you think out of that group of 50 or however many, we could have, one at a time actually do kid site.
Absolutely, if you would get permission from their parents,
yeah,
it would be.
We have to have a consent form.
The time-wise, that could.
I think it's going on Wednesday afternoon, so that's after school, it's gonna be school age more than the little ones.
It will
Yeah.
be school age. They range
But
from
they do
kindergarten.
have- But you guys do have a.
We have. I forgot you.
the
That's
little
actually.
kids, a read too?
Yeah.
The little guys, we actually, Thursday evenings, they're actually there with their parents. And those are all toddlers, and then we have
That's what we
2
want.
toddler story times.
Up to
And those, I think, pre-pandemic, they weren't really sure what we're anticipating.
Okay.
We're expecting between 10 and 15, but it could be more, could be less, depending, of course, on the timing. And we definitely have space that it would be a darkened room,
Okay,
and so we can work with that.
Yeah,
And
good.
like I said, Thursday nights, the parents are actually there with the children. It's family night. And some of our family programming, maybe then in a couple of months, once we gauge what the community's wanting or how many are coming, you may be able to connect directly with those families.
that'd be good. That's what we need. Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions about myself or the library?
Real
Um,
quick,
but I-
how'd you end up in Wyoming?
My husband and I are hikers, and we really like the mountains. And we decided on a whim, our youngest son was graduating, and we said, oh, that would be a lovely place to work. So I applied, and I got it. And so I said, oh, well, I didn't anticipate that. And this was March, and I said, I can't go to Wyoming till my son graduates in May. And they said, that's fine. So I actually spent half of my time. I had a lot of vacations, so I worked my vacation, so I spent half the time in Wyoming for those few extra months. And then we moved 2 days after my son graduated out to Fremont County, Wyoming. We lived in Lander. It included the Wind River Indian Reservation. So it was a unique population that I had never worked with before. And coming out of West Liberty, which is 58% Hispanic, I was used to working in diverse communities, and that was an area that not only had the mountains, so I hiked every day, but it also, I got to work with a population that isn't real prevalent to get to work with.
Thank you. Well, don't go now, don't leave. So don't pass this around. We don't usually do this for every guest speaker. But we are big supporters of the library, the Lions, Noon Lions, and we made a $5,000 commitment to the library for 5 installments, and I'm happy to present you with installment number 4.
Wow, thank you.
Of our commitment to the library.
Thank you.
And I'm very proud of what you're doing and work you're doing, and thanks so much.
Well, I hope you all